This is episode 12 of Radio ArtEZ, a podcast by Studium Generale ArtEZ. Welcome to a very special episode in which Samira Dainan takes us on a personal and lyrical journey through Morocco and parts of the Sahara. It's a biting and poetic exploration of what it means to find your own sound and voice. The Power of Moroccan Roots music is a thrilling collection of memories and music told by a person in search of her history and her voice, with each account of every audio excerpt radiating love and care.
You just heard Tarhanin, the first song I wrote for my band Samira's Blues, an ode to the sons of the desert. In this podcast, I will take you along my journey that got me here. After exploring jazz and blues music in Amsterdam, where I was born and raised, I felt something was missing in my music. I wanted to find my own voice, my own sound. I wanted to sing in the language of my father. He was an artist from Asila, a whitewashed town on the west coast of Morocco. At first, I studied classical Arabic singing to master music from this region. I even traveled to East Jerusalem in 2012 to study at the Palestinian Al-Quds College of Music. Eventually, I wrote my first book there, 40 days after my father passed away, in Dutch. But that's a whole different story. There were divas like Kulthum from Egypt and Fayrouz from Lebanon. They were great examples to follow in classical Arabic singing. Both have been extremely popular through the decades, and they are the legends of secular Arabic music singing. Much Arabic music is characterized by an emphasis on melody and rhythm as opposed to harmony, and the focus of this music lies on the scales or maqamat. And the development of Arabic music is very much connected to Arabic poetry, dating back to the pre-Islamic period. You just heard an Andalusian muasha, and the song recounts the beauties of the beloved one. It's about her moving like a tree branch in the wind. Actually, in these days, it was not decent to sing directly to a woman. So normally, the lyrics or poetry was written in the male form, but you can address both male or female with it, or even the beloved, the divine one, God. In Morocco, you can find classical Andalusian chamber music. I remember my father used to play this music on his tapes. I felt it was a bit boring, but this music is extremely complicated in musical structure, and the lyrics are characterized by the strict use of the Andalusian dialect or classical Arabic. And this music began in Al-Andalus, Muslim Spain, around the 9th century. And then classical Andalusian music made its way to Morocco during the resettlement of the Muslim and Jewish population, fleeing Al-Andalus after the Spanish Inquisition. A lot of northern Morocco cities, like Fez, Tetuan, and Tangier, they are home to world-renowned Andalusian multi-piece orchestras. After my research, I still felt not close enough to my roots or soul. When I was a little girl, we spent the holidays at the coast of Morocco, where my grandmother would throw parties on the roof terrace for my birthday with live musicians. After she slaughtered a sheep for dinner, she played the bandir, the frame drum from goat skin, and chanted along with the musicians and played trance-like melodies. I was dancing all night. I decided to discover the roots music of Morocco by traveling from north to south. I also wanted to know more about the country of my father, and I made a trip from Fez, where I studied classical Arabic, through the Atlas Mountains towards the coast, Essaouira, where happened to be the Gnawa festival. Here I recognized the freedom I felt on my grandmother's terrace. Youngsters with afro hair and all-star sneakers were enjoying themselves for 3 days. I was really inspired by Gnawa music. It has such clear roots in Africa, and I was fascinated by the way the Gnawi use their voice, so powerful. The Gnawi are descendants of black Africans from Senegal, Sudan, Ghana, and brought their music through the Sahara to Morocco. They are part of the Sufi brotherhoods that are common in Morocco, where music is an integral part of their spiritual tradition, in contrast to most other forms of Islam, which do not use music. Sufi music is an attempt at reaching a trance state which inspires mystical ecstasy. In song texts, the Gnawi refer to their origins among the Bambara, Fulani, and Hausa, and historic points, and they are related to sub-Saharan African ceremonies. Gnawa ceremonies are used to protect against mental illness, diseases, and bad spirits. The Gnawa Lila, Gnawa nights, mostly led by a ma'alim or master, is a rich ceremony of song, music, dance, costumes, and incense that takes place over the course of an entire night. Since the creation of the Gnawa and World Music Festival in Essaouira, the Gnawi of Morocco have seen their status change with their appearance on the international music scene. Ma'alim Mahmoud Genia was one of Morocco's most famous Gnawa musicians. He passed away in 2015 in Essaouira. Mahmoud Genia belonged to an artistic family which trace their ancestry back to Mali, who played a major role in developing Gnawa music in Morocco. He was a respected singer and gembri player, and he recorded for both domestic and foreign labels and collaborated with numerous musicians, like, for example, Santana. The gembri is the main instrument of Gnawa. 3 snares on goatskin and coming from sub-Saharan Africa, although merged into Moroccan traditional music. It has a low harmonic range compared to a bass guitar. One master of the gembri in the new traditions is Majid Bekas, or Abdelmajid Bekas. He's a multi-instrumentalist, singer and composer, born and still living in Salé, Morocco, close to the capital Rabat. He has accumulated for lots of years crossovers with big names in world music and jazz. And I met him in Amsterdam, in a cultural center, in the beginning of the year 2000, where he gave a masterclass and lecture. Afterwards, I asked him if a woman also can sing Gnawa. And he said, yes, why not? As far as I knew, and I think a lot of people in the West, popular Moroccan music was all about rai or shabi, folk music, most of all brought in modern weddings or on commercial radio stations. One special artist in this style got my attention when I visited her concert in het Concertgebouw Amsterdam. Najat Atabou, who wrote her own shabi music, starting in the 70s. She was a feminist and not stressing on singing beautifully or technically correct, like the classical divas from the Middle East, but emphasizing on lyrics and emotions. She was originally from the Middle Atlas. When she reached the age of 13, she would sneak out of her bedroom window and sing at local weddings and school parties. After being threatened by her family for this, she moved to Casablanca upon invitation of a music producer who discovered her singing. She scored a lot of hits, and her biggest hit in the Arabic world and the south of Europe was Hadi Kidba Beina, Just Tell Me the Truth, in 1992, about a woman whose husband is cheating on her. The song was later on sampled by the Chemical Brothers in 2004 in their song Galvanis. After my first trip alone through Morocco, I decided to go back and got connected with the director of a new festival, Visa for Music, who resided in Agadir. I connected with him through an internship, and I got introduced in the professional roots scene of Morocco, and with a little address book, I started to explore the region. When I was traveling in the south of Morocco, I fell in love with this part of the country. The culture here for me was really diverse and genuine and connected to rituals. different from the styles of the north, which were more conservative to me and related to the fine arts and salon classical Arabic music. I was enchanted by the purity and depth of Moroccan folk music, combined with the African rhythms and scales. In the region of Agadir, the Souss, I got to know shluh music, a music style in Amazigh, Berber dialect, often used in ahwash ceremonies, collective celebrations by men and women performing in singing and dancing. I visited the conservatory in Tiznit, named after a big name in this music style, Haj Belaid. He was a poet and rebab player, African violin, and a troubadour born in the 19th century. He was the first nationally renowned shluh musician and also the first who had a record label in Paris. Amazigh music relies on its lyrics that deal with all aspects of life and also on its rhythms that move the listener and pushes him to interact with it. The music of Hajj al-Belaid has been replayed by all the next generations. Nowadays, artists like Rebab Fusion from Agadir take back to this tradition in a modern variation. When I got back to Holland, I started to develop my own music style as a singer-songwriter. I began to sing in Arabic, Berber, and French, the languages that are spoken in Morocco. In 2016, I was invited to meet a young group from Morocco at the Roots Festival in Amsterdam. They were from Mohammed El Rizlan, the last oasis before the Sahara, and were called Generation Taragalt, the former name of the town and name of the Taragalt Festival, musical celebration of the nomad culture in the Sahara, connected to the main festival au désert of Timbuktu and Ségou. Due to the political situation in Mali since 2012, the main festival of Timbuktu cannot take place. Now the musicians of the Sahara connect through the cultural caravan for peace, traveling through the Sahel and Europe. The band had their own desert blues, the same style as the famous desert blues bands like Tina Riwen, Bombino and Tammy Crest, but different from their lyrics, which are in Tamashek, the language of the Tuareg. They sang in Hassaniya dialect. Hassaniya Arabic is a mix from classical and dialect Arabic and has its origin in Bedouin language. The great example of this young band is, however, Tinariwen, the legendary Tuareg group from the Sahara in northern Mali who wrote their last album in their region. They are icons of freedom and resistance among the nomadic Tuareg and beyond. They are bringing songs describing the pain of exile, the longing for lost homes and families, and the struggle for political and cultural freedom, and everyday life in the desert. Their music became the soundtrack for a whole generation of exiled Tuareg. The band leader, Ibrahim Ach El Habib, transposed the traditional melodies of the Tuareg on the electric guitar, mixing them with blues, rock, pop, Berber, and Arabic influences. Tinariwen brings a modern desert rock sound, whose harsh simplicity was well suited to the realities of their situation.
سكوز تران دغشنا وان تينيري ساستانا قام يكتفو تمي ديوان لتاسني دلاد الشكوى عنايا ورني سنجي.
Together with the group and the manager of Generation Taragat and the festival director, we organized 2 summer concerts in Amsterdam the next years, which were sold out quickly and united Dutch and Dutch Moroccan culture lovers. Next, they invited me to the desert, where I now reside every year to learn and play new songs and connect to the Sahara culture. I felt this was the music I was looking for. The beautiful mix of blues and other Western styles with authentic North African music. Also a nice detail, in their tribe, men are wearing the veil to protect their beauty for the evil eye. You now understand why I love to come back here. I also performed in Festival Taragat, where Tinariwen also was playing, and when they recorded the video of Tenere Sastanaqam. One of the songs I learned in the desert is Hasnawiya Leila, in Hassania dialect, which is played all through the borders of the Sahel. The way the people of the Sahara are connected to their region reflects in the song. We find the same structure in the music of Ali Farka Touré from Mali.
Hasnawiya Leila, Hasnawiya Lali, Hasnawiya Lali, Hasnawiya Leila, Leila kadabti alayya. Hasnawiya Leila, Hasnawiya Lali, Hasnawiya Lali, Hasnawiya Leila, Leila kadabti alayya.
In the Sahara, I discovered that another group had the same respect as Tinariwen among the Moroccan youngsters. They told me everyone who wants to master the Moroccan repertoire has to know Nassel Riwan. They were a Moroccan group from Casablanca that first appeared during the late 60s. Film director Martin Scorsese once referred to him as the Rolling Stones of Africa. But it were actually the Rolling Stones who got inspired by them when they were traveling through Morocco in the 60s. In a time where the only music available was Middle Eastern pop music, singing about love, Nassel Riwan had something new for Morocco. They used authentic Moroccan instruments and mixed Sufi chants of Zawiyas, brotherhoods, like the Hmacha and Aisawa, with the poetry of Melhoun, adding it to the ancient rhythms of the Amazigh and the trance dance of the Gnawi. They were the first Moroccan band to mix such a diverse and rich heritage and to speak about the most forbidden subjects, of which may have led to imprisonment in the troubled and autocratic Morocco of the 70s, with no freedom of speech. Nassel Riwan specialized in writing poetic lyrics, mostly to avoid censorship, about the social and political climate, and arranging its music in a Moroccan tradition. They were the voice of the youth and oppressed class, and were banned on some occasions to sell their records and play on venues because of the incredible amount of freedom and energy they delivered to their public. My father always warned me for their music when I started to sing. He said I had to keep me far from it, because he was afraid I would get in trouble, like he was when he was younger. He was also a poet, and he wrote about the political situation in Morocco. And because he was searching for more freedom, he came to live in Holland. But I got really inspired by S03E12, and I learned that they used a variety of folk music like the Aita, Malhoun and Gnawa. So I followed their track back to Essaouira. One of the band members was actually a Gnawa musician. I was really excited that this time the element of mystical music and trance of Gnawa brought me to other styles in Sufi music. The Gnawa ceremonies, the Lila, share these functions with ceremonies of other Moroccan Sufi and Sufi-inspired groups, such as the Aisawa, Hmacha, and Generale. Aisawa and Hmacha, crucial Sufi brotherhoods in Morocco, are known for their bewitching dances and music that captures the attendants in a healing trance. All groups use music, song, and dance to enable communication with the spirits. They sing invocations to God, the Prophet Muhammad, and various Muslim saints in order to purify their intentions in the performance of the ritual. Most Moroccan brotherhoods trace their spiritual authority back to a founding saint. They begin their ceremonies by reciting that saint's written works or spiritual prescriptions in Arabic. In this way, they are given the authority to perform the ceremony. One night, I attended a Gnawa ceremony led by Ma'alim Mokhtar Guinea, brother of the late Mahmoud Guinea. The ceremony took place in a Zawiya, a sacred site of Sufi brotherhoods you can find all over Morocco. I was sitting among a lot of young Moroccans and also some of their parents. They were all here to detach from the daily, to be healed or to take off to a new dimension, or just to see and hear the musicians. Normally, a Lila lasts for 9 hours, and I seemed to keep up with 4.5 easily. The music and dance brought me into a meditative state. Then I decided it was time to go to sleep, because I had to meet and play with the women of Hadarat Shorfa the next day. The different spiritual music genres are also represented by groups of women from Essaouira, the Hadarat. Their singing and rhythmic mystical performance, the Hadra, is done with percussion like tarija, small hand drum, darbuka, and metal trays, and they lead collective trance ceremonies at home, strictly for women. Their ancestors practiced a kind of religious fusion by realizing the junction between the Lila of Gnawa and the Hadra of Aisawa. Since several years, they also perform in public events and music festivals, where their powerful playing blow you away. For me, among them, I felt the same power and authenticity I felt when my grandmother was playing with her friends on the rooftop in Asila, celebrating life and sharing the hard times. One Moroccan artist who dove deep into the Gnawa, Hmacha, shabby but also Western styles for his compositions became a big inspiration for me. Aziz Sahmawi one of Morocco's greatest fusion musicians, of whom I attended a concert in the Bimhuis, and also recently performed on the same stage with Festival Taragal 2019. He was born in Marrakesh and grew up with Gnawa music. Later, he moved to Paris, where he became the founder of the well-known Orchestre National de Barbès, who mix reggae and chansons with North African music. His latest band, University of Gnawa, is now conquering the world.
مهد البشرية ومهد الكون أتزيد.
Eniato, quand l'on mi va mi a dozone pour les bazons. Mi deblava, mi sonne mi aïe. Kaba 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 la.
جنة جنة مغربية جنة جنة إفريقية.
Finally, with all this inspiration, I founded my own band, Samira's Blues, 2 years ago. Spiritual traditionals and originals with African, Amazigh and Arabic roots. With guitarist Bas Gakir, we recorded a little video of a Sahel song in the Hassaniya dialect. That was also performed by Tina Riwen in the 80s. We put it on Facebook and it went viral among the Tuareg. We recorded our own EP. And finally, I found I was ready to sing Gnawa.
This has been episode 12 of Radio ArtEZ, written and curated by Samira Dainan. All the music she referenced, and of which you heard fragments in this podcast, can be found in the show notes. We made a special YouTube playlist for that. Studium Generale editor for this episode was Rana Ghavami, and it was produced by me for Studium Generale. My name is Dennis Gaans.